Hello and welcome to another episode of Focus on Tomorrow. Focus on Tomorrow is a non-profit organization located in Chicago, Illinois. You could contact us at www.focusontomorrow.org. You could also email us at focusontomorrow.org. Today my guest is Dolph Ireland.
Hey.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good.
Good.
What's it called? Let's start off by asking, you're the dean at Innovation High School, right?
Yep.
Describe your role working with students.
My role working with students, I'm basically over the disciplinary policy of the school, the vanguard of school culture. I liken myself to be, the patriarch of the school, the father figure of the school, just ensuring that I'm aware of the ins and outs that go on each day, making myself visible, creating the relationships with students, getting to know who they are, learn about them, and see the best ways to ensure that we get them to the next level.
That sounds good. What's it called? What inspired you to enter this line of work?
What inspires me to enter this line of work? Wow, that's a multifaceted question or answer. I would say, first of all, I believe that, obviously I believe in a higher power, and I think that, God gives us all gifts or talents, and those talents are based around, in my belief, the things that we love.
Yep.
So since I was a youngster, I've always had a desire to help people, a desire to affect change, positive change, in the lives of young people, people in general. I've patterned myself to, be a servant, and to be able to help as many people, reach as many people as I possibly can, to impact their lives in a positive manner. The other thing, inspiration, and the reason, why I, chose to do this type of work, is interesting. I had a buddy of mine. We were young, and this guy was, he could do everything. He had a aura about him that just, he just said leader. He was great at multiple sports. He was just the guy that when he walks into the room, he light it up.
Inspiration.
Yeah, he's an inspirational individual himself. The only difference between me and him was that, when I went home, I had mom and dad there. When he went home, it was foster care, or it was bouncing house to house. This guy could have been anybody. Could have been anything. Should have been a future leader, should have been doing great things, but not having that foundation and not having individuals that really pushed him, caused him to become stagnant, and his life went in a direction that we hear the story a lot of times. Just he made one wrong decision, then another wrong decision, and it eventually ended up with him losing his life. And all I can think about is that if he had somebody, a mentor, just somebody that could have pulled his coattails, so to speak, on the decisions that he needed to make or to go the right way, his life would have been different. So those probably are the two things that inspire me to do the things I do day to day. I think about him all the time, and he is an individual that you can find in any major city, any metropolis, any small town, any back country roads area. Those individuals exist, and the issue is that they just didn't have somebody there to help to propel them to the next level. And because of that, it's the reason why I do what I do.
Well, what gives you the most satisfaction in your job?
The most satisfaction is it's June of each year when I see the kids walk across the stage, man. It's really proof positive of why we do what we do. The smiles on their faces, the smiles on the faces of their family members, just seeing them having completed a stage of life that, at one point, depending on, the reasons why they came to us, they may have, never thought that they would have been able to reach it.
Sure.
So, every time June is just, it gives you that feeling of this is why we do what we do. We're impacting lives in a positive manner, and we're making real change, and most importantly, we are pulling out what's within those young people, which is an ability. you know,
Yeah.
and making them believe that they can go forward and do something different and strive for greatness in their own lives. So,
What are some challenges you face in your job?
challenges in my job. You know, with you know, with the great successes, you know, we live. The reality is that you can't save everybody.
True.
And that's something that weighs heavily on my mind because I'm the type of person that feels as though, I can put my arm around somebody and shield them from harm or give them the advice necessary for them to go on and be successful. And I want to do that, 100 times out of 100. But the reality is, that's not always the end result. So that makes it difficult. Also, each student that comes in, everybody comes in from a different perspective. There's different things going on. There's different dynamics that lead them to enrolling in innovations. And a lot of times we can do all we can to pour in the wisdom into the young people, pour in love into them, and it doesn't always work out that way. So it's just that it's the reality that everyone isn't going to get it. That's the thing that's makes it very difficult, as well as combating all the things that these young people are combating. Social media is, I have my own opinion on that. I'll probably get to that later. But it's just, they're being combated from all sides and attacked from all sides with so much negativity. It becomes it's arduous. It's hard.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's pretty hard. Absences can be a problem, I see. How do you academically motivate students?
How do I academically motivate students? As related to coming to school or?
Coming to school, right?
Oh, okay. Well, there's a couple different. I don't want to give all my secrets, but there's a few different things that I do. The most important thing I would say is that I present school in a way to whereas it's something that the student values. A lot of the young people that come to the school, as I mentioned earlier, they're dealing with all types of situations outside of school, and one of the tricks that the mind can play on you is to make you believe because of things going on outside of school in no way, shape, or form is going to alleviate those issues. Our young people who want to go to school, but at the same time they're taking care of their little brother. They got a lot of the young people have to be the breadwinners in the homes where they are at. A lot of the young people have adult responsibilities that I feel like they shouldn't have at this moment, but because of the way that things are, they're forced to be the man or the woman of the house. So, the thing that I do is I present the academics or the importance of it in a way to make them understand that this is something that will lead to allowing you to alleviate the issues outside of here. A lot of the young people are in a position to whereas everything's about money. Everything's about how can I get paid or I need to do this or do that based from a monetary perspective. And the thing that I do is explain to them like, look, you coming to school every day, you striving in that classroom, you being successful in that classroom will equate to financial success down the road. You just have to buy into it and understand that it's not going to be an overnight thing. But the reward is far greater than anything that you can just, turn and flip, in a moment.
Yeah. What's it called? In Chicago, the latest 5-year graduation rate is 73.5%, although that's a really high number. How do we increase that number? I believe the best way is to start from the soil, to start from a grassroots perspective, and to get young people involved in the creation and formation of legislation and the way in which we view education. I'm a firm believer, like all of the individuals who I've ever looked at as leaders, proponents of change, were all guys and ladies that were, 19, 20, 21 years old. I'm a firm believer that, the youth push and dictate the manner or the direction that we are to go in the future. So
point number one, I would always say involve the young people. Bring individuals back whom have graduated. Bring individuals back who are vested in these communities, young people, to take part in the creation of programs. You got to make it fun also. But even in making it fun, you also, at the end of the day, have to understand that it's serious business. But first of all, I would definitely say, you got to make it fun, and you have to involve the individuals who, are the stakeholders of the thing. You have to involve the youth. The youth control everything. The youth create and dictate the direction that we are to go in as a people, as a nation or community.
Why is it important to get that number high?
Well, that's everybody will want to have 100% rate of graduation, right? But I really believe that we live in a time where there is such a gap between the haves and the have-nots. We've heard the numbers have been crunched a bunch of times to speak of the fact that you got 1% in control of 99% of the wealth, right? The reason why it's important for individuals to go to school, to graduate, to go on to post-secondary institutions is because we have to put ourselves in the game so that 1% that's in control of everything now has to look at us, understand that we are a powerful source, a powerful unit, and it's time for us to also be able to make the decisions throughout both this nation and globally. And the only way that happens is through education.
All right, high school drops out at 3.5 times more, 3.5 times more likely to be arrested. Do you think teens that do not finish high school are contributed to violence in Chicago?
Well, to quote, one of my favorite artists, Jay-Z, the numbers don't lie.
That's true.
I'm a firm believer in that, If you have an individual whom isn't busy being busy, who has idle time, who doesn't have a sense of direction, who doesn't have a sense of self, because that's so very important, then you're going to have someone whom then is easily going to be moved or pushed in a direction that could, end in an adverse situation. So the numbers themselves, I wish I had it in front of me, but we recently had, or earlier in the year, we had a town hall meeting of sorts that talked about those very problems. And the numbers are scary. It's scary, the parallels between, dropouts and individuals whom commit crime. But once again, it's a situation, it's really common sense to me. It's a situation where if you don't allow an individual an opportunity to grow, if you put a person in a situation, whether it be through economics, socioeconomics or otherwise, where they don't have resources, they don't have the means, then they're going to do crime. If it goes back to what I mentioned earlier about presenting the education as something that equates to finances. If I'm in a situation where, each night I go to bed, my ribs are touching, then I don't have any other means to clothe myself or feed myself, then what are my options? Right. And then on top of that, I'm not going. If for nothing else, with school, you're in there from 8 to 4 or whatever your time frame is. It's a time frame where you are away from the nonsense. You're away from the opportunity to put yourself in a situation where you are involved in nonsense. You're away from that opportunity to be idle. If you don't have that, then what are you doing with your time?
So yeah, you offer sports in your school, right?
Mm-hmm. We have a basketball team, MMA club, things of that nature.
Yeah. How important are these programs for our youth, and how effective is it for them to stay out of trouble?
Oh, it's very effective. Sports. I had a praying mother and a stern father, but on top of that, sports, also helped to save my life.
Same here.
It offers an opportunity. We know all the things that being part of a team does. It builds community. It builds leadership. It builds, camaraderie. It teaches you how to think on the fly. It, teaches you how to assess a situation, deal with it accordingly. Execution of a situation or a plan. Just how to deal with people, on a day-to-day basis. So, and then on top of it all, it's fun. It's something that, you can always utilize to get someone, to get that push, to want to take sports seriously. So at our school, we have, we have a pretty good history with our basketball team. We've done really well, and all of the individuals, if not the majority, all the years that cause I coach also, although I took a break over the last couple of years.
So you're a basketball coach?
I'm a basketball coach this year. I was in the past. I took a break for about 2 years. But now I'm back, and we here to win a championship this year. But my point is that all of the young men who have played for me have all graduated. They actually were scholarship recipients, academic scholarship recipients. So it plays a huge role in getting young people to get involved with school, and also to see the importance of academics.
All right, students at Innovation High School wear uniforms, and how does it help them to stay out of trouble?
Uniforms. With the uniform policy, it makes it easier, obviously, for security, because we can see, you know exactly who is your student and who's not. So from a perspective of security and just safeguarding the school, it makes it easier. From the perspective of the student, when everybody's wearing the same thing, you don't got to worry about what you don't have on or what you are wearing. We live in this world, man, where everything is so material based, and it's about what you have or what you should have, and what you can put on Instagram or showing your Snapchat or whatever. It causes issues, because once again, if you're talking about an individual whom doesn't have the economic stability to be able to legitimately go out and get these things, but wants those things because it's put in their face so much, it causes issues. Or if somebody comes into the building and this person might have on a pair of shoes that this person doesn't have on, or this person may have on the latest shirt, or designer jeans, but this other person doesn't have them on, and then a confrontation occurs solely because of that, and it can go left fast. So having uniformity, it really cuts out for the opportunity for individuals to, be bullied, basically.
160,000 students nationwide stay home each day because them getting bullied.
Mm-hmm.
How do they address the fear of being bullied at school, at your school?
Well, we take bullying, very serious. It's the top tier of infractions, meaning that an individual that is caught bullying, whether it be, the traditional just, bullying somebody in school, or cyberbullying, which is now, that's a phenomena of sorts, and it's so rampant in so many schools. The way in which we deal with it is swift, and the reprimand is severe. So we're able to curtail a lot of things, because whether the young people realize it or not, a lot of times you guys think that we don't know what's going on and we too old. But nothing's new under the sun. So I have many ways to find out information in regards to if someone is being bullied, whether it be in school or over the internet.
All right, 64% of children who are bullied do not report. How does this impact them handling bullying?
Oh, well, it makes the situation hard, and it's really sad, because it's a situation a lot of times where something can occur for such a long period of time, and the young person is either, too afraid to bring it up, or don't want to bring it to, school officials, or they'll try to, deal with it on their own. And both of those things will, lead to a lot of times a wrong decision being made. So it makes it very hard. It makes it very hard to deal with. However, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of times, because of the way social media works, it's pretty easy for me to find out, what's going on, and then deal with it accordingly.
Okay. what are some roles does social media play in bullying, and how do you address the teens with your teens actually?
Mm-hmm.
How do you address them?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, the social media phenomena, you know, it's really, it has its pluses, you know, it has its pros, but there's a lot of cons to it, you know. The fact that we live in this world, or we live in society now where the generation, everything is about having something right now and being able to show that right now, you know, via social media. It creates a system where everybody is attempting to basically keep up with the Joneses, so to speak, if you know that old adage. So it creates a situation where individuals are constantly trying to outdo the other person or one up the other person, which in its own case can lead to adverse situations. So, you know, the second half of the question, would you repeat it?
With everything in the news, how do you teach kids and interact with police?
Oh, yeah, that's an interesting question. It's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, for me, in my own opinion, it's not about getting the youth to learn how to interact with the police, but getting the police to learn how to interact with the youth. Mm-hmm. You know, the problem is, you know, we have individuals. Your job is to always be the bigger person. As a police officer, you are the safeguards of society. You have to, and if you have that role, you know, you need to be properly trained on how to deal with individuals. You know, I know the job is extremely hard, without question, and I'm not taking anything away from any police department. But I will say that individuals have to be properly trained on how to deal with young people, deal with people in general. You can't have people in there that, you know, are too quick to judge or too fast to go off of the handle, or, you know, get tough or you know, try to flaunt their power. And I see that happening a lot. So in regards to your question, you know, I don't think it's a situation where it's about getting young people to learn how to interact with the police, but, you know, the exact opposite, vice versa. The police need to learn how to interact with the people within their communities.
All right. A lot of teens get arrested and get in trouble with the law. What advice do you give students with records?
You know, don't allow your record to be the decision on where you're going to go in life. I have plenty of friends, family, who have been in trouble with the law. But now, matter of fact, you know, an individual in particular is the owner of a school now. You know, now this is an individual whom, when they were younger, got in trouble like, you know, a lot of us do. But you can't don't allow any one situation to dictate your future. You know, we all make mistakes. We're all going to have those situations where, you know, we should have made a better decision. However, don't allow that thing or those things to, you know, dictate your future, or to be the, you know, tell-all, end-all to who you are as a person.
Something I always want to ask you, yo, what's it called? What's the difference between Black Lives Matter and All Life Matter?
One deals with an epidemic, a serious epidemic, a serious problem, and the other one is I would answer it with really. And what I mean by that is this. Without question, we recognize that all lives matter. That's like saying everyone should be able to breathe good air, right? Or that's like saying everybody should be able to drink good water. But the problem, like in Flint, is where I'm from actually, there's a group of individuals who don't have that. So for me to make the statement about what's happening nationwide is one thing, but the issue is what's going on in my hometown. You know, I think that it's, you know, here's the thing, right? And I'm glad that you asked that question. You know who Eric Harris or Dylan Keybold is? You ever heard of them?
I heard of them.
So, you know, when the Columbine massacre occurred, right?
Yeah.
In 1999, during that same period of time, a lot of the issues that were going on in the African American and Latino communities were happening. But when that occurred, did a bunch of individuals from those communities say, well, brown lives matter and black lives matter? That wasn't the issue. The issue was gun control and what happened out in Columbine. So, you know, I find it's offensive to me when individuals attempt to marginalize this very, very serious issue that's going on within the black and brown community, or try to, you know, pass over it, look over it. And it seems like it only happens when it has to do with us.
Yeah. We had a really great talk with you. What are some future goals you're set for yourself?
Personal or just as far as my, you know,
far as your school.
Professional. School. You know, continue to get 100% graduation rate. Continue to affect change in the lives of these young people. Continue to grow as an entity, and to grow as a school.
All right. We would like to remind you that Focus on Tomorrow is a nonprofit located in Chicago, Illinois. You could also contact us at www.focusontomorrow.org. You could email us at focusontomorrow.org. I would like to thank my guest, Dolph Ireland.
Yep.
And see you next time.
All right.